So we're in sunny Tucson, Arizona, and it's like 100 degrees outside, but it's like nice in here. So we are here today to talk about Triberr, and instead of me like sitting here trying to figure out what to say to you, I found it about a month ago. Is that when I got on? Do you remember?
Yeah, about 4 weeks.
Was it 4 weeks? And so let's talk a bit about why did you start Triberr?
Why did we start Triberr, Dan? Okay, so I've been blogging for a few years now, and I've noticed a disproportionate amount of attention being given to superstar bloggers. So there's like 1% of superstar bloggers that get 99% of the attention. And the content doesn't deserve that type of disproportionate attention. And we know that attention equals book deals, equals speaking engagements, equals money, equals so on and so forth, right? So as the blogosphere gets noisier and noisier, it's very difficult for smaller and medium-sized bloggers to break through that noise.
Right.
So we started Triberr. So instead of having, I don't know, 100 or 500,000 followers on Twitter or whatever your audience might be, a bunch of small bloggers can come together and share each other's audience.
Right.
And ergo, kind of, elevate each other and bring each other, in front of each other's audience.
And what would be, do you have something to add? I saw you.
No, I was just thinking how we first started out, and it was really Dino's idea. Came to me and said, I can't sleep. For a couple of days I've been thinking about this. And he told me about the concept of connecting different Twitter feeds together. And at first I was like, well, how can I be a part of this? Can I be a part of the strategy, the thinking piece of it? And that didn't bring a whole lot to the table. I was already working on another programming job, so I said, well, maybe I should just start programming. And I just love the idea of it, and that's how I came on board with it. It's this guy's brainchild, really.
So you both have a background in development or in, I thought, SEO? Like, why don't you tell us a little bit about
He is the SEO guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm more the pure technical, a lot of web development, a lot of SEO, and some programming background. So I've come from pure web design and a little bit of marketing and a little bit of blogging, a little bit of social media. And Dino's sort of the opposite, with a lot of blogging, a lot of social media, a lot of marketing, a lot of connecting, and a little bit of tech background thrown in the mix too.
Mm-hmm.
So, with Triberr, who's your typical, you had said you're looking for the blogger, but how are you reaching out to the blogging community? What are you doing to make it available? And tell us a little bit about, how do you get on it? Just all the basics. Mm-hmm. Assume that, like, I've been on it, but if we're telling somebody who's never been on the site, what would you say to them?
Well, it's sort of an interesting setup because it's not open to everyone. If you were to go to Triberr.com right now, you might be able to look at people in the site, look at tribes that have formed, but you wouldn't be able to actually join the website. Okay. So the only way to join the website is if someone who's an existing member invites you to be part of their tribe. And once you join their tribe, then you have a couple of your own tribes which you can invite other people to. Mm-hmm. So there's no sort of marketing work that we do. We don't self-promote it much. We just get a few influential people on at the beginning, let them tell about the website, invite other people and bring them on. And then once people join, they sort of understand, oh, this is sort of how it works, what it does. Let me tell other people and get them to invite. So it sort of spreads out that sort of networking effect that way.
Well, a curious question, and I haven't, obviously since it's at the beginning stages, I know that in our tribe there's 10 people. Is there a cap off for how many people can be in a tribe, or are you thinking, because I know for myself, I run a very loud Twitter stream, if anyone knows me. I'm going all day long. But for somebody that's joining a tribe, how much is too much? What's too much? Is there a cap? How do you balance someone who's a hyper blogger versus, putting them all together? Is there a system?
Why don't you talk a little bit about your power tribe and how it differs from...
All right, so first of all, the default tribe size is 7.
Oh, okay.
And the reason we did that is because we didn't want Triberr to become a community of spammers.
Good.
Right? We didn't want it to become a way for spammers to proliferate their message onto Twitter or whatever the case might be. So if you want to grow your blog past 7, you can, but you have to use Bones. Bones is basically our in-game currency type of deal. It's a virtual currency. We give you like 100 bones to start off with, and you can like, do these extra things with the bones. You can earn bones, you can purchase bones, stuff like that, right? So if you want to grow your tribe past 7, you can expand tribal slots. It's like 30 bones to add a tribal slot and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
So there are tribes out there that are 10 members strong. One of my tribes is like 24 members strong. We have a tribe with 40 people in it.
Okay.
Right? So I've written a lot about different strategies. So for example, if you have 40 bloggers in a tribe and they all publish, you base that tribe on posting frequency. And they all publish once a week.
That's not much.
That's not much. You know what I mean? And the other thing that we do is we don't want to apply technical solutions to human problems. We expect chiefs to be basically a football coach, right? When you bring a football team together, a basketball team, any kind of team together, right? You have to consider individual dynamics as well as the overall goal, right? So we expect chiefs to do that for themselves. And then the last part of it is it's a very kind of we try to make it fair for everybody. You don't like the tribe, you can leave the tribe. You're pissing off the tribe, you can remove that member from the tribe as the chief.
And it staggers them out throughout the day.
That is correct.
Is there anything like, does it have any kind of metrics for like higher traffic times a day, or when does it decide to send them out?
Yeah.
So the way we set that up is sort of neat. What the site does is it checks your RSS feed about once an hour. It checks for any new posts, it brings those new posts in, and then once it finds a new post, it sort of schedules them like you're going to tweet first, and then you're going to tweet second and third and fourth, and schedules a random interval in between each person. So sort of like a round robin format. So if you had a 24-member tribe, then if they tweeted every hour, it would be your post spread out throughout the entire day by everyone in your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had multiple tribes, it would be the first tribe, everyone tweets out an hour, overlapping, but a little bit of a different time span, same thing. So you've got multiple people spreading it throughout the entire day. One of the other features that we just recently added in is, let's say you have a guest post on someone else's blog, and you don't have that RSS feed hooked up to Triberr. What you can do is you can manually take that post and add it into your tribe, so your tribe will tweet that out. The beauty part of it is we use our own shortener on Twitter. So we can look at when your followers are clicking on your tribesman link and when your tribesman followers are clicking on your link. So we understand that if you're going to post something, we know the best time of day that your tribesman followers will click on your stuff. So we can start to hone in on maybe 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. are really high click times of days. And we can start scheduling tweets sent out, scientifically like that.
That's so interesting. So other than features you've already identified, what are some of the other features you plan? I know you've talked about some new stuff you're going to be adding.
Yep. So I think one of the biggest big features we're going to have is a questing system. So what we're going to do is we're going to give people inside the website sort of objectives to do. Like, let's just say, have a click-through rate for your post of 30%. So when your tribesmen send out the post, 30% of their followers click on it. And we can measure the click-through and response rate. Or we can say, be the member in your tribe who brings the most traffic to your other tribesmen, and give them objective and goals to go after. And by creating these quests, these missions within the site, it sort of brings a gaming element to the website itself, but it also gives you something to strive for, how to optimize your stream, for example.
Well, let's back up for a second, right? The reason we're doing this is because, so I've had people request invites into my tribes who are not our audience. Sometimes, most often, they don't fit the profile of the tribe. But often people don't have a blog and they request access to one of the tribes. So I think the reason people are doing it is because they hear Triberr this, Triberr that, right? Oh, it must be next Facebook or something like that, right? It's not, right? But they want in, right? So my point is, a lot of people are being pulled in without actually knowing what Triberr is. And even if they have some kind of understanding, they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So the questing system will answer that question.
Okay.
And introduce them to different features and show them the capabilities of Triberr and stuff like that.
So that's your business model. I mean, how are you guys planning to monetize Triberr? What does that look like?
So early on, we were thinking we could go the premium route and let members pay for premium analytics or certain sort of functionality. And ultimately, we decided on having in-game currency, or inside currency.
The bones?
Bones.
So we give you bones off the bat, 100 free bones, and then you can spend them on different ways. So for example, if you post something on your blog and each one of your tribesmen tweet it out, you get, let's say, a couple hundred visits from that. You could choose to replay that tweet and send it back through your tribe, right? So this would be a feature that you could spend a few bones on and get additional exposure.
Now, what's cool about that is that the bones you spend, part of those goes back to your tribal members.
Oh.
So that's one way in which your tribesmen earn bones.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so features like expanding your tribe, creating additional tribes, those are different ways where you can spend bones, and as your tribesmen spend bones, you end up making some bones too.
Yep.
So you're constantly making money, you're constantly spending money. Net, we want you to spend more than you make. So this way you can buy a package of bones, basically. And that's how we're monetizing.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there's a good question is that people, or a lot of people are selling stuff on their blogs, or they're blogging a review they did, or paid bloggers. So this site is probably for them to helps them generate traffic, so it is valuable to pay for this type of service, or
well, that's
how
exactly
is the bones?
You want to be on Triberr because you as a blogger want more exposure. You want more reach, you want more traffic. So you understand, you can see very clearly how many people are clicking on your post. So you can
Naked
figure
stats.
out naked stats.
Yeah.
We've got all these crazy names for features. So naked stats allows you to see when I post all my tribesmen, how many of their followers clicked on my post. So
Well, let's pause there for a second, because I think naked stats is worth talking about. Okay, I can't take any credit for naked stats. It's all Dan,
Yeah.
right? And when
You just named it.
yeah, he did name it. I called him No More BS Stats. But yeah, but when he showed him to me, it was out of the blue, and my mind just splattered across the room. Because what Naked Stats allows you to do, so I have a bunch of members in my tribe, right? Some of them have 50,000 followers, some of them have 150,000 followers, some of them have 800 followers, right?
Right.
You know what's funny? When the person with 800 followers tweets your stuff, and you can see that that person gave you 10 clicks, in other words, 10 of their followers clicked on your stuff,
Right.
and then a person that has 50,000 followers, they gave you 3 clicks, 3 of their followers clicked on the retweet they did. That's strong.
It's interesting.
That's very interesting,
I
and
think it's content, because I've noticed on my clicks, because I have a very diverse tribe, and it's for people from internship to executive employment to social media. I mean, you know, like the one I'm in, and it's interesting because I look at the clicks on that page you're talking about, and I can see on my clicks, and it's weird because the person, like you said, with the smaller amount of followers is the one giving me like 80 clicks.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of all this data we're collecting. We're sending, we've sent over 100,000 tweets,
Okay.
and we know who's clicking on it. In 3 months, 100,000 tweets.
Wow.
Right.
How many people are on right now?
So,
a ton.
yeah,
You know, it's a ton. Like
it's growing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So,
Close to 300% growth in the last 2 months.
and it's only people you invited though. That's the thing.
yeah, it's
like,
all invite only.
It's interesting. And so you started with the influencers online and the big, like.
That was Dino's core group of people that commented on his blog. He commented on their blogs. He told them about it and said, "Hey, would you mind giving this a test run?" And it was all buggy. The interface was horrible, but they joined because they know Dino and they trust him. So if Dino says this is good, then I'm going to do it. And that's really like the core value of social media. You may not be able to put an ROI on it right away, but the value of having someone's word say, "Hey, try this website out," and they just do it because you told them to do that. That's really hard to measure on a cloud-based score.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, I've seen about it. I'm going to tell you, honest to God, I've seen it probably about at least my metrics on, I use the Google Analytics. Just in the past 2 weeks, I've seen, I noticed there was like about a 200% increase It's my traffic.
High five.
No, it's interesting because and then even on the my Twitter stream, because of all of the diverse information, because I heard, like, one objective I've heard from people is, why would I would have just let somebody randomly have access to my stream? And yet there could be a risk, and we've talked about that, but I think that you guys have set up metrics for that, so explain to people why it's not necessarily a risk.
Yeah, so when we first started Triberr, there was a lot of hesitant about automating anything. I don't want people automating stuff to my stream that I haven't read and commented and approved at first.
Right.
So there was all these blog posts coming out saying, is this a risk? Do you really want to do that? So we listened to our community. We really care about what they're saying, and they suggested, let's have an option to approve posts before they get sent out. So that's what we did. We built a manual approval mode where you can choose, I want to be in a tribe that I automatically tweet stuff out, or I manually approve tweet stuff out.
Well, I think if you have a good head of your tribe that's vetting the people that
Exactly.
are into it, and also by group. Okay, so I belong to a probably more executive tribe, wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
But if I were in the music or rock and roll business and it was fun, there might be a little bit more of a, the feel to it might be a little bit younger, and it might be about more trendy stuff, and it might get a little blue. Whereas, so I think I'm finding that it balances out, and I'm loving the content. I'm absolutely loving it.
And that's another thing about Triberr that was totally unplanned. It extends your reach outward, but in my Anubis tribe, there's like 24 bloggers who basically didn't know each other prior to being in the same tribe. And now they're like buddies, commenting on each other's blogs, visiting each other's streams, doing guest posts back and forth. So it kind of extends your reach inward as well.
I think it's incredible. Yeah. And then where do you guys see this going? What do you want to do next? What's 12 or like 6 months, 12?
We're rolling out a lot of features to help improve the core product, right? So we want to get better at pulling posts in, understanding what the blogger is writing about, what they tweet about. So this way we can do cool things like suggest people to be in your tribe. You may not know this person, but this blogger has a similar audience, talks about the same stuff. They'd probably be a good tribe member, right? So we start to understand the type of content and the quality of the content. So we're doing a lot with measuring the quality score of the posts themselves. So for example, a really high quality post, it may circulate through your tribe, and then it may jump to a similar tribe and be a suggested tweet there. Right? So now you've got really high quality post sort of jumping around the network and expanding that way, and the lower quality stuff that has a poor headline, no one is really interested in, it's not like getting a lot of clicks, maybe that dies down a lot sooner and doesn't go fully out through the tribe. So we're starting to do a lot with quality score, analyzing that, recommending people to join tribes, recommending different topics.
Headline testing area.
Yeah, headline testing area. So we're doing a lot with
Great idea.
optimizing, helping you optimize your own feed, right? So if I'm a blogger, I might think this is a great title for my post. But before I actually send it out through 20 people's tweet streams, I may want to just submit that to the tribe and get some feedback.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of like hot or not.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
Put in
right.
like 2 different headlines for the same post, and then have your tribe members vote on it.
Oh, and actually, with my own blog, I've tweeted, or I put it out, and then been like, I didn't get any hits on that, and then went and called one of my friends and been like, what do you think? And they're like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, the headline.
Dang.
It's so huge. It's the whole tweet. It depends on whether people click on it or not.
And sometimes when you're blogging, you're getting a hurry, or you're thinking you're too attached to the story that you don't see that outside.
Right.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
Right. So,
We're bloggers.
Right.
When we bring these solutions we present these new features, we're just solving our own problems. Because I do exactly the same thing. I have a Skype full of bloggers, and whoever's on, I'm like, what do you think about this headline versus this headline?
Add me to your Skype.
Yeah. So you'll be getting that message soon.
No, it's so great because I've been blogging, I think, for couple years now, and it's just strange. This year it seems to be popping, and I'm actually seeing call to actions and absolutely feeling like inside something fulfilled for me, and I'm like becoming a blogger. But
well, you know what the beauty is of being in a group of people? If you're in a group of bloggers who are better than you're going to learn some things about the type of headlines they use.
okay.
Reading their content, you're going to become a better blogger yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to focus on the core product of just making things flow easier, getting more metrics, but we're also going to try to focus on the community.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of valuable things you can be in a tribe. If people are giving you feedback on your posts and voting up and down, you can see the quality of your post and people are clicking on it. So those sort of tools help you become a better blogger.
Agreed.
And that's as valuable as the extended reach.
Yeah.
So you may just go on the website to interact with people and use these tools and check out metrics and then have the automatic posts flowing to the Twitter stream.
That's great. So in the near future, like how are people going to be able to come and start their own tribe and do their own communities? How soon do you see that becoming available?
You mean
keep it
with
exclusive?
the invite piece?
Yeah.
I would really love the invite piece
Yeah.
for a couple reasons. One, it creates a very exclusive nature.
Okay.
So you may hear of Triberr and say, that sounds cool, but all of a sudden you get to the website and find out, wow, they won't let me in. I want to be in fact, more. Right? So it's that ability of I now have 7 invites that I can give to bloggers I choose. That creates scarcity, creates a desire to get in stronger.
But more importantly, what we want to do is we're creating something called karma points.
Okay.
And it's basically your karma on Triberr, right? How good or bad have you been? And karma points will be tied into your genealogy. So whoever you invite, their karma will be reflected on your karma. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you do something that's kind of douchebaggy on Triberr and you get a minus or whatever the case might be, right? Then that's going to reflect up the chain.
Back up. What would be considered a
So let's say
What's
you
it at?
post a very self-promotional post or a lot of advertising,
Yeah.
and the tribesmates look at that post and say, I don't want to send this out to my stream. It's off-topic, it's self-promotional, it's just low-quality content. I would give a minus a karma point there.
Is there a way? Okay, because like for me, I benchmark certain days, and so if someone was like, okay, so I do like maybe a recap of a chat that I was at on Sunday night. Important to my stream, but maybe not my people, is I can turn off mine specifically and say, hey, I don't want you guys to have to send this through your stream because it may not be valuable.
There's 2 ways of doing that. One, if you post it and Triberr sucks it in, you can go in there and manually pause it or remove it. So that's sort of the backup manual way. The other way of doing it is create specific feeds based on categories of things you talk about. Maybe one feed is specific to social media, another feed is specific to music, another feed is specific to business. And within WordPress or whatever blogging system, you can create a category and just assign posts to categories and have a feed-specific category, right?
You have to do a tutorial for that.
Yeah,
That's
we're
something that's very. I can tell you in my community, specifically where the radio, broadcasting, music, that's we're into social media, but still needing that. Is this thing still working?
Yeah. So if you create a specific feed for one tribe, perfect. Or you create a post that you really don't want sent at all. So you just wouldn't put it in the category that's labeled tribe or whatever.
Okay.
So you get control up front as to what to get pulled in.
Okay, that's great. And so more so than this, what did I cover that you want to add, or what do you feel like so passionate about with this project? I mean, I got yours in the beginning. What's going on with this?
I think we talked about a lot of the pieces of the website. What I really would love to talk about for a second is just the power of the community that's behind Triberr. Because we're 2 guys, we've got jobs outside of Triberr. We work on weekends and nights. I was up at like 6 o'clock programming, building out new features this morning. Right? So it's so encouraging to have community members say, hey, here's an idea.
Yeah.
Or we really love this, or we really hate this. Or we're going to financially support you by buying some Indian breads, right? So that sort of thing is huge to us.
Okay.
So if I were to give any sort of advice for people wanting to start something up like Triberr, I would say make sure you pay real close attention to your members. Make it member focused, don't make it money focused. Build a community, give ways for them to give you feedback inside the website, on Twitter, on blog. Your blog.
Meet them on their own terms.
Yeah, whatever it is, and interact with them, because that's huge. You wouldn't have been able to do any of it without a really supportive community.
right now I would tweet out to the audience and say, do you have any questions? But since we have a little audience, is there any questions from this audience over here?
From the Peanut Gallery.
Got
Michael.
any questions over there?
I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, I think this is really incredibly brilliant. So at the moment, I don't have any questions just yet, other than the fact of.
Can I get an invite?
That was what I was thinking. Like at the end of this, how do people find you? What do they do? I mean, do they have to stalk you and be like, "Hey, can I get some bones?"
They don't have to stalk us.
They can if they want.
They can if they want to. Yeah,
I stalked you.
that's cool.
Perfect.
But you know, people come to me and email me all the time. How do I get into Triberr? You don't have to get into Triberr through us. You know, you can get into do a search on Twitter for Triberr. There's people always talking about Triberr. That's been something that's really incredible. There's always a conversation about Triberr on Twitter since we started.
That's great.
Which blows my mind.
And it's Triberr, TRIBERR.com.
Yep.
And you're at Triberr, and you're at Dino Dogan.
Right, so Dan at Triberr.com and actually Dino at Triberr.com.
But on Twitter, and then you guys are on Facebook.
Yep.
Yep. Twitter, Facebook.
Do a search. Dan Christo, Dino Dogan.
Google it.
Yeah, you'll find us. Yeah, we'll actually. Do we able to meet the founders on Triberr.com homepage
This weekend.
Okay, we're going to build that. So our contact info is going to be
So I
right
get to
there.
get to the front of the page now.
Absolutely.
Aren't you?
Oh, I am.
We switched it up. We switched it up to just featured members that we
Oh.
wanted to
I
feature.
have a question as a
Yeah.
user. I noticed when I went in there. Okay, so I'm in my one tribe, but there was 4 other tribes that I had access to. Were those ones you set up to give me access to go out and start them?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. So I could start like a girl power tribe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So and then in accessing the different, is there? Can people go to the Triberr and say, okay, hey, that tribe looks great. I want to use their feed to go to my site because I'm noticing how much content I get from it. So can somebody say, hey, Defius Zion has great content. I want to grab the RSS feed and import it to mine.
So that's actually a great idea, but it's not a feature right now.
Thank you. I'm always full.
You're coming up with great ideas. One of the things we do want to do is there's a lot of great stuff happening inside a tribe. Feedback, post quality scores with posts, and we want to make that public. So you can go to a tribe and look at the interactions, what's happening, what's the top tweet, what's the most clicked on tweet, stuff like that. Right. So it's one of those things where we're going to build it out as we make more of that great stuff more public facing.
And if anyone has cloning technology that can give me like 3 of these guys, that would be awesome.
I know, I want one of these for Christmas.
Everyone wants one of these. No one can have it. Sorry. Jeannie Dietrich, you can't have Dan. Sorry.
I like you both. I think you're great.
Thank you so
very
much.
excited. I'm glad that you guys had me here today, and thank you for visiting my beautiful hometown of Tucson.
It is beautiful.
Really
It's
happy.
awesome. We love Tucson.
I may not go back. I may not.
Yeah.
You guys should just move here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love that.
I will be back in the fall.
Oh, good. Good. Well, when it's 105 in a week or so, I'll be
Yeah.
like, can I come see you guys in New Jersey? But it gets humid up there. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Where can people, you going to be at in conferences coming up?
I'm going to be doing Ungeeked.
Ungeeked.
Yeah, in October and November in Boston and Toronto, and I'm going to be talking about clout, probably some other stuff, maybe gamification of your social media or blogging or whatever.
Okay.
So
I'm going to be chained to my laptop, so
This is very
I probably won't be at any conferences.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for having me today. And again, it's Dino Dogan, DinoDogan, and Dan is at Triberr, at TRIBERR. That's his Twitter handle. I'll probably put it on the bottom of the screen so it'll look like that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Love it.
All right.